everyone, welcome back to my channel, Learn with Riyaa. So today we are going to be learning about something very interesting. We are going to be learning about stroke. But before I get into the nitty-gritty details on what stroke is and all of its aspects, I would like to go over the 3 types of prevention. Now, in one of my old videos, I actually went over these types of preventions in great detail. So if you haven't watched that, I highly encourage it. But I'm going to go over a very quick summary on the 3 types of prevention. The first being primary prevention. Primary prevention is the kind of prevention that we all take to reduce the chances of getting a specific health condition. Secondary prevention occurs when we already have a health condition, but we don't show any symptoms yet. So when we go to the doctor, they might give us any medication or any treatment to help us get rid of it as soon as possible. Now, tertiary prevention occurs again when we have that specific health condition, but now what is happening is that we are showing symptoms. So we need to go to the doctor as soon as possible to get it treated to prevent any long, everlasting negative effects. So these are the 3 types of prevention. So now that we have gone over that, let's go into the focus of the video, stroke. So you might be wondering, well, what is the definition of stroke? Here it is. It is an episode of acute neurological dysfunction presumed to be caused by blood vessel blockage or rupture persisting for 24 hours or more or until death. So this definition may seem very complicated, but by the end of this video and after I've taught you guys everything, I think you guys will have a better understanding of it. So let's go over some epidemiology of stroke. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you guys or emphasize to you guys how important it is to talk about strokes today, because it is so prevalent in our society today, and it is important to spread so much awareness about it. And these facts are right now that I'm going to show you actually reflect that. So the annual incidence of new or recurrent strokes in the US is nearly 800,000. This is big because what this means is that just in the US alone, people get a stroke every single year. 800,000 people get a stroke every single year. This is a lot of people, which shows how prevalent and how relevant it is in society today. Now, along with all of this, more than 140,000 people still die annually in the United States from stroke itself, which makes it the 5th leading cause of death. This is significant because here we see that 800,000 people die annually, or sorry, 800,000 people get a stroke annually. And out of that 800,000 people who get it, 140,000 people die of it. That is a large number of people who die of getting a stroke, which is why it is the 5th leading cause of death. Along with all of this, stroke remains the 2nd leading cause of mortality globally, and it is responsible for 6.3 million deaths annually. So this shows that getting a stroke isn't just prevalent or isn't something that should just be spoken about just for people in the United States, but it is a issue that should be spoken about globally because it affects everyone around the world. So now that we know the importance of stroke, let's go into the 2 types of acute stroke, ischemic and hemorrhagic. So as you can see here, ischemic stroke accounts for about 80%, which is why I'm going to be focusing on that the most. So this happens because of a blockage in blood vessels. I will be going into a lot more detail, but for now, that's all I'm going to say. Hemorrhagic strokes account for about 20%, and that's not going to be my focus, but what happens here is you can think of it kind of like a balloon. So let's say there's a hole in a balloon, so then the air is just going to escape, right? So that's what happens in a blood vessel. The blood vessel ruptures and blood starts leaking out, which can cause internal bleeding, and this results in a lot of negative effects. So like I said, I'm going to be talking mostly about ischemic stroke as it accounts for 80%. So The mechanisms of ischemic stroke. There are many different ways that an ischemic stroke can happen, but there are mainly just 3 different types of ways. And just so you know, before I continue, I got all of this information from Dr. Rajesh Rangaswamy, a neurointerventionalist at Riyaa. Okay, so one way is, let's imagine we get a clot in our heart. So what will happen is that it'll travel through our blood vessels all the way up our neck into the blood vessels of our brain, where it will get stuck. Another way is when we get plaque buildup in the blood vessels of our neck. And what happens is that that plaque actually travels up all the way to the blood vessels in our brain and gets stuck. Lastly, the third way is that the plaque buildup happens directly inside the brain's blood vessels and directly gets stuck there. So these are the 3 main types of ways. Like I said, there are other types of ways, but these are the main types. Okay, so now that we know all the main details about what a stroke is and all the little details about it, how can we prevent or reduce the chances of getting a stroke? Well, this is what primary prevention is actually all about. So one way we can do that is to eat well. So make sure to eat the proper veggies and fruits and proteins and all of that sorts of things, and just make sure to have a good meal plan. Another way is to exercise daily for about 30 minutes, because when we exercise daily, we actually reduce the chances of plaque buildup in our blood vessels. Like this image says, it's important to be positive, slow down, relax, and take it easy, because it's really important to just let go of our worries and our anxieties and not stress out too much, because stress has a lot of negative effects on our bodies that we might not directly see at first. Also, another important thing is just don't smoke. It causes a lot of negative effects, one of which is a stroke. It can cause plaque buildup, so don't smoke. It's very dangerous for your health, not just for stroke, but overall. So this is primary prevention. So now let's move on to secondary prevention. Secondary prevention occurs when you already have plaque buildup or a clot in your blood vessels, and now you have to find a way to remove it. But you might be wondering, well, how am I even supposed to know that I have plaque buildup? Well, the way to do that is to go for your yearly doctor checkups and to get your blood pressure taken, to get your blood sugar tested, cholesterol levels checked, just to make sure everything is okay, because doctors will be able to tell if there are any problems by taking all of these tests. Another test is actually the Doppler's test, where they kind of rub a probe on your neck. And what happens is that when they do this, they get scans of your blood vessels in your neck, which helps them to analyze and see if there are any problems going on in there. So this is secondary prevention. So now let's imagine that someone ends up getting a stroke, unfortunately. What are they going to do then? Well, there's something actually called the FAST method. It's an acronym, and I'm going to be going over each letter. And so actually this goes over a lot of the symptoms and what to do if you experience these symptoms. So F stands for face, and basically this symptom talks about when one side of your face basically starts drooping. So this happens when you feel like your skin is pulling down and you just feel really sluggish and numb on one side of your face. Another symptom is when your arms are weak. So this is what A stands for, arms. So you can't really pick up anything. Your arm may feel super numb and weak. And this actually goes for a lot of muscle movement. So for walking, a lot of the time, people who have strokes, a symptom is they can't walk properly. They can't really get up and move their feet. Now, another important symptom is speech difficulty. If you can't seem to speak properly, if there's a lot of slurred speech and no one else can understand you and you can't seem to be getting the words out properly, this probably means that you are getting a stroke. So if you have all of these symptoms, it is time to call for an ambulance. It is time to call 911. Do not brush it off. Don't just think, oh, I'll sleep and everything's going to be okay. This is no big deal, because that's not true. Actually, about 2 billion of our neurons die every single minute. And so what this means is that every single second that we delay, we are actually damaging our future lifestyle and our future recovery time. So it is important to call 911 immediately. And when you're on the phone with the paramedics, tell them everything that's going on and tell them that you need to go to a hospital where there are surgeons who are specialized to help to take out a stroke. Because what can happen is that they might send you to a hospital where there might not be surgeons who are specialized for these kinds of things. And what happens then? Then you have to be transported to another hospital, which then means there's further delay time. And you don't want that, because every second matters. So this is the fast method. So now, more to do with tertiary treatment. There's actually a type of stroke treatment, and it's called thrombectomy. I got this video off of YouTube, and this is not the focus of my video, but I thought this is a really interesting kind of treatment. So I'm going to put this video on and I'm going to be talking over it. So what you can see here is you can see that there's plaque buildup in your blood vessels. And so what they will do, and you will see this shortly, is that they will actually put a puncture in your groin or thigh and will send a wire and kind of a tube all the way up your body to exactly where the plaque is. And what will happen is that, so this tube will kind of surround the plaque, and what will happen is that, you will see this soon, the plaque will actually be sucked out and it will be pulled along the tube all the way down. And so you can kind of see this sucking motion happening. So the plaque is actually being sucked out. And this does take a little bit of time. It's a slow process. And so this is how it works. This is how they take plaque out, and then the tube will be pulled back down. So this is thrombectomy, a kind of stroke treatment, and I thought it was very interesting. And there are multiple videos on YouTube about it. So just for a summary, because I talked about a lot today, so you can pause this video and just look through the primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention of stroke, because a lot was discussed, and I just quickly put everything down here that we talked about. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope you found everything that I said interesting. And I hope you use this information to spread awareness about stroke. And I hope you understand the prevalence and relevance of stroke itself and how important it is to our society today. And also, I hope you take the tips that I've given you to prevent even the risk, or to reduce the risk of getting a stroke, such as eating well and exercising well and going to your doctor every year to get your annual checkups. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, please subscribe, leave a thumbs up, comment, let me know any questions you have, any questions that I can answer, and I will see you guys next time for another interesting topic, as interesting and complex as stroke. Thank you so much, you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.